Tech season is on. Apple is releasing stuff, Google is releasing stuff, Samsung has already released some stuff. Today we'll be talking about the iPad 9th generation. Apple typically holds a couple events around this time. There's an iPhone event around September, October, and typically another event or two announcing iPads and Macs. The iPad 8th generation, the current budget model in the iPad lineup, was unveiled last year in the September event. This year we'll likely see a similar schedule, since the previous 7th gen was also unveiled in September of 2019, and it makes sense that the 9th generation would follow this pattern. In terms of hardware, I have a couple of predictions. I'll be using the patterns seen in the previous iPads to predict what the 9th gen might look like. Before we begin, I'd just like to remind you to consider subscribing since it's free and you can unsubscribe at any time. You'll also get regular tech videos like reviews and videos like these. Back to the video. The 5th generation iPad was a redesign from the 4th generation iPad, and also brought a new chipset. The next iPads would receive one of those two upgrades. The 6th gen kept the old design, but updated the chip to the A10. The 7th gen got a new design, but kept the A10 chip from the 6th gen. The 8th gen kept the design from the 7th gen, but updated the processor to the A12. See the pattern here? For a couple of years now, the budget iPad has either received an upgrade for the chipset or an upgrade for the design. Since last year was a chipset update, we can guess that this year's iPad upgrades will be purely in the design department. We now know that the new iPad will have a redesign. Now the question is, which design will the new iPad have? It won't be a crazy redesign with flat edges and an all-screen design. The iPad 5 resembled the iPad Air at the time, with the 6th gen using the same design and the 7th and 8th gen merely having a slightly larger display, as well as a smart connector. One of the reasons the budget iPad is so cheap is because Apple doesn't have to spend money in terms of design, and they don't need to make new machines to manufacture these designs. They can just recycle old designs and old machines and save money on machinery and design. Since the iPad Air got a redesign last year, we can assume that the new iPad 9th gen will have the older iPad Air design, the one from 2019, since it's still modern enough for customers to consider buying it, but it won't cannibalize sales of the iPad Air or the iPad Pro, and will also make use of the old machines used to make the iPad Air. This means a larger 10.5-inch screen and possibly a laminated display. The current iPad has the air gap, which is quite noticeable, but definitely not a deal breaker for most people. The iPad itself should work with most current iPad cases, since instead of making the whole iPad bigger, the iPad 9th gen will make the bezels smaller. I have a feeling that Apple will update the storage to 64GB and 256GB with no 128GB in the middle, because you either spend not enough on storage or too much on storage, because money. And they'll also kill the 32 and 128GB options. So, according to my predictions based on current patterns, the new iPad 9 will keep the A12 processor, not upgrading to the A13 like others have said. Performance-wise, the iPad 8 and the 9 should be the same. The upgrades are purely in design, and maybe storage. The iPad 9 should be using the design from the iPad Air 3, and will start at 64GB. It will also keep the $329 base price that the budget iPad has kept for a while. Essentially, it'll be a carbon copy of the iPad Air 3, but at a lower price. At least, that's what I think. Alright everyone, thanks for watching until the end. If you enjoyed the video, and if you watched till the end you probably did, please consider subscribing. It's free and you can unsubscribe at any time. You'll get videos about anything tech related on a regular basis. Alright, thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.